Let's spread this message since there's so much like reaction to the word chosen. I think it creates a separation in the mind of most humans. So it immediately creates a resistance in people. So just to dissolve that resistance, let's put it here that chosen is more so a dog whistle for those who are of likeness, especially online. Offline, if you are in admission of who you are and your sight is clear, then we can identify each other, and we're not using words like chosen. Okay. Chosen is dog whistle language, and it's to put things into words. Most of us, from my experience, and dealing with people who present themselves or even call themselves chosen, they're not really at home with themselves. So even if they have an intuition, even if they have a knowing, they don't respect it. So what happens is they don't live from the knowing. It's one thing to be like, yeah, I am intuitive. Yeah, I know. But you don't literally make life choices accordingly. So you defer to what can be measured. You defer to what all your senses can pick up on. You defer to those things. So when we use language, it helps feed your ego mind that needs 3D data. You need a number. You need it to match this. You need it to measure. This is another reason why the word, W-O-R-D, word chosen, is used. I would rather not use the word because when you are it, you don't have to call yourself it. Okay. So again, we're doing this to dissolve the resistance that goes up in a variety of people around the word chosen. So that's one reason why we use the word here, to dissolve resistance and separation. And number two, to feed the ego mind that constantly is looking for proof, numbers, data, for your human senses to make it make sense. I'm saying that for us to be here much more softly. This live stream is inspired by an African man who DM'd me recently, and he said this exactly. The sentence was a little longer, but ultimately this is what he asked: how to be with a chosen one. And this runs parallel with what I've noticed has been the search on some of the videos, on my videos, where people have asked, and even in the comments, dozens and dozens of, how do you identify a chosen one? How do I know she's chosen? How do I know? How do I know? How do I know? How do I know? So, first of all, those of you who do identify as chosen and you're ready to admit who you are and start to meet more of us, I'm hosting an admission and connection virtual session April 1st. You can register at the bio. So the internet has democratized everything. I think at some point, I was actually thinking about this before I got here today, about like thinking long term, like ultimately 100 years from now, 500 years from now, whatnot. I was making this assumption in my mind. I was just tracking what my mind was doing. I was making this assumption that eventually we'll all get there. And it's not that I was saying that, it's this collective assumption that because we're all one, right? This is the understanding that people have. Because we're all one, we're all the same. We all come from, we're nothing. We are everything and nothing at the same time. We are life itself compressed into matter. This is some of the understanding that people have around what a human being is, okay? So yes, we are all life compressed into matter. Yes. So the the infinite compressed into matter. Yes. And we are all born with different assignments, different degrees of power, different degrees of sight, and much more. And because everything is on the internet and people can watch a YouTube video, they think they know. They think and folks like to belong to things. Humans have a deep biological need to belong, to feel seen, to fit somewhere, to be loved. And so because anybody on the internet can come create a piece of content, etc. Most folks don't really. Most folks don't know. Okay, they go to a training, they have a course, they watch a YouTube video, and they think they know. And I'd say the true essence of a chosen one is not even of language. Like me talking, like I can explain to you what it's not even of language. It's not something you put into words. It's one of those things where you just look at a person and you know. Now, and again, this goes back to what I said earlier about when you are like a few women who came to build a vessel of capacity last week. I said, how many of you identify as chosen? And most of them said, I identify, but not publicly. So I published a piece of content maybe a year and a half or so ago. And it basically said that a seemingly insignificant key to your power is admission. Because when you don't admit, like these women said, I do identify as chosen, but I don't admit it publicly. I don't admit it. Or verbally out to themselves in a real way. When you don't admit, what you do is you're inadvertently giving yourself an out. And when your energy aligns with, I need an out, I don't want to be all in, I want to be an out, there's a way that your power doesn't hook and open to you and access to you in a way that allows you to say and do and create and be sustainable in all the action you want to take, whatever it is. Build the business, do the thing, because there's a part of you that's out. Just like, I'm not admitting. No. I don't admit. No. So when you live like that, there's a way that you, even in your knowing, you don't lean into it. You don't let yourself take action from, I just know. I just know. Because you're in a lack of admission about who you are truly, which is such a respecting of self, a respect of your gift. And it's not something that can be faked. It emanates from you when you are truly, I know. I don't have anything from anybody else telling me, I know. And I'm taking this, I'm calling her because I know. I'm moving here because I know. I'm saying this because I know. I'm creating this piece of content, I know. Not like I come online and I create a piece of content, but I'm still not in admission of who I am. I'm still not in admission of who I am. So when I speak, I'm not speaking from all of who I am. It doesn't land in other people's reality where they feel this woman is admission or this man is an admission of who she is, respect, and therefore I respect also. This is the kind of power that people who don't have it don't get, or they think they can watch a YouTube video and learn about, oh God, all the things, higher degrees of sight and power and knowledge and access and the occult. And then they want to, let me teach you too. Oh my God, this is so interesting. We can see that though. Those of us who are of this wordless essence that I'm speaking of, we know this when we see it. And so in connecting this to how to be with a chosen one, first of all, are you an acknowledgement of what and who you are truly? Do the people around you know? Do you stand for what you are, or is there still a lot of you that's in hiding? So there's a lot of questions that answer themselves when you stand for who you are. There's a lot of whole new elevated questions arrive. So what I so delighted about is gathering on Zoom for those of you who identify as chosen or black sheep, or you feel called to serve, because I have a whole vision around the way this is to work. And it's the energy, like when I really lean into it and open up to it, there are people who are pillars who are meant to usher the high order work that the chosen and black sheep are called to do, right? Those of you who are called to build schools, you're building a school right now, lead retreats, you're building retreats right now, but now you're ready to integrate the intelligence and knowledge that wakes up in you when you admit who you are, when you come out of hiding fully, when you align. So on Zoom next Wednesday, which is April 1st, is the opportunity for us to meet each other, for you to speak, for you to admit who you are, to meet others who identify as chosen. This is for men and women. It's wonderful. It's, in a way, it feels like the antithesis of the dominant content online that's constantly telling chosen ones to be scared. You're a target. You better cloak yourself immediately. They're watching you. They're coming after you and your children. You need to be terrified and full of cortisol and fat. Oh God, we're damned here on earth. We were tricked into being here. And oh God, it's just a doomed place. It's a prison planet. And oh God, hide your children. Hide it all. Oh God, cloak. Hurry up. Cover up yourself. Oh God. Hey, this is the antithesis. Relax. Be quiet. Lay down. Listen. See, when you let yourself calm down and listen and get with, and you're sincere in your heart about where are you really to go? What action are you really to take? How are you really to build this business? What are you truly meant to bring into your content? How are you truly meant to be? Right? And redirecting attention. So this is an energetic, highly energetic opportunity to align more precisely with all of what you are. So this is the antithesis. This is the expansion of who we are, not the high and good God. So yeah, you can sign up for How to Be with the Chosen One right now at the link in my bio. And it's happening Wednesday. So there's your deadline. What if I'm not who I think I am? This is a question that I've heard many times over the last several years with women and men, primarily women who have been questioning themselves about chosen or starseed, or these, they've seen content online that they resonated with, and they're like, because you when it comes to energy, for real, you can't fake and lie, okay? And so what happens is they are seeing this content online that's talking about chosen, black sheep, starseed, or other truly high degree energetic positions in life. And when they're invited to step into things that are of that actual energy, that's when this question comes up. How do I know? Am I who I think I am? What if this isn't me? And the reason why many are asking themselves this question is because when you really are chosen, which is a dog whistle, okay? It's the architecture of you. It's wordless in many ways. It's who you are. You don't actually need to declare yourself chosen when you truly are. I use it as a dog whistle because I know many of us, we know, right? And even if we click into it, we even can identify that is being used as a dog whistle, not because we need to call ourselves chosen. So I'm answering that question here for anybody who is in that question right now or has asked themselves that question. If you're asking that question, it's a high chance that you are not, because when you are, it is clear. Chosen ones are meant to stay separate, perpetually separate. It's a scary, lonely place, and we must stay away and in isolation. And fill in the blank with any other limiting, scarcity, fear-based thought. Let's banish these things. So, if your real world results, I repeat, if your real world results, meaning you have taken action repeatedly in the direction of mating with, whether it's in business, in platonic, in romantic, in some other kind of relationship with someone who you identified as chosen or peripherally chosen or not chosen, Okay. And perhaps you communicated who you are and however that relationship went. But the point is, you have results from your real world where you have taken action repeatedly. And the results of those actions have told you that you prosper, you thrive, you are better, you are measurably better and more prosperous and who you want to be and have what you want to have when you are in isolation, when you are away from people, when you are separate permanently with no other engagement with any other people. If your real world results show you that, fine, stay separate, live that way, have that. However, if you know that you are meant to be in elevated states, all of them, I'm saying elevated states because when you truly come home to yourself, there's a way that you live there, even in your, what we call bottom states, okay, emotional bottom, okay? When you arrive home to your place self truly, and you know that you are meant to be in relationship, you know that yes, that you love having your time alone with yourself. Yes, okay. You love your quiet time alone abundantly, and you like to enjoy whatever it is that you like to enjoy with people who are vibrational matches, or even peripherally vibrational matches. You are not meant to entirely be separated, entirely be alone, entirely be off in the corner by yourself. I'm bringing this forward because time and time again, whether it's a comment in my content or an email or DM, some kind of message that I get from folks who identify as chosen or any other light language, okay? Light worker, star seed, golden child, all the languages of folks who were born with very distinct assignments, things that a lot of adults don't come to or never come to, but come to at 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. They knew it at birth. Okay, so this is a real thing, and these people exist. And when you are constantly allowing these thoughts to swim in your reality, especially with no real world results, and the real world results start within you. If you have walked around with negativity and fear-based thoughts, of course you're going to produce results that are negative and fear-based, of course, okay? However, when you actually engage in the primal work, because it's primal, everybody's talking about they've done shadow work, but like when you do shadow work right, when it's visceral, when it's primal, when you land it and engage in 3D, not just in a journal at home by yourself and all these, what I hear people doing in these very elementary, I did my shadow work, but still they're unable to produce the results, take action that would have them taking up much more space. It's because they didn't really do the primal, practical shadow work that puts them on the line, that has them hits the really darker aspects of themselves beyond just childhood trauma, okay? And that's exactly why I created Shadow Gold. But it's time to banish these thick, long-standing, it's almost like the sucking on the negative thoughts, the finding a blanket and a comfort and familiarity in these negative thoughts. If you are chosen truly, okay, you are of the wordless power, truly. It's necessary, absolutely necessary to banish, face them, banish, and take action in the 3D that are diametrically opposed to the negative, limiting, fear-based thought. One of the reasons, and this is just one of the reasons why Earth feels like a wasteland to many, feels like a sewer, a gutter to many, is because most things that are stunning, that truly arrest the depths and the gold of your sun, truly, the true love, true beauty, not just aesthetics, but the things that would really pause a human and have them bow in deep appreciation and love, which so much of it is in connection, human connection, and what exists when humans get to the other side of that which is most grotesque and disgusting and drenched in fear in the human. Everything on the other side. So that which makes Hitler a monster, that which makes Trump somebody millions of people want to watch be tortured and killed, that which is within the most vile human beings that walk the earth right now, who are in power positions, when that which would make the human bow to the great privilege of being in a body for the short amount of time that each of us will be in a body, is when we are willing to face the things that we wish to murder. When we look deeply at ourselves, at the parts in us that are vile and wicked and filthy and disgusting. And when we refuse to do that, we refuse to do that with Trump and Hitler and the most satanic evil beasts that have walked this earth also in a human body. I say this because this person here who said chosen one, this sort of, I can feel the energy of dismissiveness. It's not about this person. Be clear. It is not about this person. It is about the energy of dismissing that which is beautiful. Remember I said, a true chosen one does not even need to call themselves that. Who they are is of essence. It is wordless. We only use it online as a dog whistle, okay? Because humans look at words to make meaning of things, and most of us are not in high respect and action with what we know. Therefore, we use the word chosen to speak to your ego mind that's constantly looking for evidence, constantly looking for you to prove to yourself that you know, that you know, that you know. Okay? First of all, so goddess temples of past, the deep, profound power that is in the human, that is rejected and denied and is relegated to being a consumer. Somebody just go work something. Shut up and do this. That which is in you that is beautiful, who cares? Nobody's paying attention. We don't have time for that. So we have been trained as a society to disrespect the deep beauty of the human. And therefore we have piled shallow aspects of ourselves on top. Our bounty has been denied. You do not try, Trump does not just wake up and arrive to being Trump. A child molester does not just wake up and arrive to being a child molester. A psychopath, a murderer, a beast does not just wake up and arrive to that. They arrive as being a pure thing, a clean slate. For those of you who have children, you know that. Unless you can say, no, my child was born evil. Yes, we inherit lots of things, right? Brand new child, you inherit genetics, you inherit the spiritual assignments that was refused or left by people before you. Yes. And each human being is born into a family and they are guided. They are facilitated by that family and through their own relationship with their intelligence. When a child, any and all children, are not met with the profundity and the depth and the fullness of what they are, what emerges from that is narcissist, is a Trump, is a pedophile, is a mean person, a selfish mom, a mean man, and all the things. And when every single human being is honest with themselves about why they're mean, why they walk around with constant negative thoughts, why they constantly ridicule themselves and others, why they're jealous and envious, why they are the way they are, when they are radically honest, they will always go back to not getting theirs, not getting the love, attention, care, and respect when they were children. Therefore, we become adults, children in adults' bodies at 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. And we come out here into the world where people assume that because you're 65 that you're wise. They assume because you're married with children that you're an adult, that you know what you're talking about, that you're all these things that are assigned to people who bind themselves to this common trajectory here on the life path, while the beauty and profundity of the human being is almost always not met. So the glory, the creativity, the joy, the absolute ecstasy that lives in human beings, most of us have never met it within ourselves. We are starved, we are sad, we are in despair that we have yet to be met in the profoundness of who we are. And when we walk around like that and we see something that speaks to something special, that speaks to something golden, that speaks to something bountiful, what we then will say or do is what this person here did. Chosen. Okay. Again, it's not about them. It's about the way when humans are not met in the fun and beauty and love of what they are, when they see it outside themselves, I don't get mine. They may not consciously think that, but that's so much of why we disregard anything that begins to point to the bounty that has been unexpressed within ourselves.